Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So yeah, in this video I'm going to be talking about 10 first time watches for me for the month of November 2023. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with all 10 of these movies. Being honest as well, I think I saw some of these movies at the tail end of October because I didn't watch that many new movies this month. But these are movies that I haven't talked about before on the channel, and yeah, I just wanted to shed some light on these because I think these movies are pretty underrated. And I just had an absolute blast with a real good chunk of these films. So yeah, that being said, we're going to get straight into it with the first movie that I've got. And this is a movie from the mid-80s starring Anthony Edwards, and it's called Gotcha. Yeah, this was a real awesome little espionage movie that I really enjoyed. Sort of follows this bit of a nerdy sort of college kid who goes around shooting people with this like little dart gun, and he's decided, you know what, I'm gonna lose my virginity, I'm gonna go to Europe. He gets his parents to pay for this trip for him to go to Paris, and he ends up meeting this Czech girl there, and there's more to it than meets the eye, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. It just leads to this, you know, amazing chase story that I just really enjoyed. I love Anthony Edwards. I think he's a great underrated actor. And yeah, this one was just really enjoyable for what it was. Had that great 80s charm about it. So yeah, that's my first pick. Gotcha. Next up, we've got a late 80s movie. I really enjoyed this one. It's called Bad Dreams. This was a fun horror film. Really enjoyed it. The movie opens with this cult that is going to participate in this mass suicide. And one of the girls there actually survives the suicide. Everyone else is killed. But spiritually, the leader of the cult realizes that she didn't die during that mass suicide and comes after her in the form of a spirit. And it was just a really awesome, cool concept. I really enjoyed it. Really had a great time with this one as well. So yeah, that's Bad Dreams. Next up, I watched a movie with Peter Weller, and that is Of Unknown Origin. Yeah, this was a really fun movie. I love Peter Weller as an actor. I think he's amazing in nearly everything he's been in. And yeah, this is pretty much him and his family home, and he goes on this spiral into descent because of there's some creature that is in their apartment. He forces his partner and their child to move out. And it's just about him almost kind of going cold turkey over this situation. There's just this mutant sort of rat creature in his apartment. People think he's crazy, and yeah, he just does whatever he can do to get rid of it. And I just really enjoyed it. I love the cast. Had a great time with it. So yeah, that is Of Unknown Origin. Next up, we've got a late 90s sports movie that I absolutely loved. Heard of this movie so many times, but I've never actually seen it up until now. And that is Varsity Blues with James Van Der Beek and Jon Voight. Yeah, just really loved the vibe of this movie. That late 90s feel, great fresh cast at the time, and a really awesome story. Love these American football movies, and Jon Voight in this movie was just absolutely despicable. Great character that you love to hate. And I just had fun with the movie, so yeah, that's Varsity Blues. Next up, we've got a movie with Brian Dennehy and Brian Brown, and that is FX. I absolutely really dug this movie. Sort of about this guy who works in movie production as a special effects makeup artist, particularly in horror movies, and he's sort of hired by the mob to sort of fake this mobster's death. And things get out of control, and you know, the worst that you can imagine actually happens. And yeah, I just had fun with it. I loved all the horror practical stuff in this movie. I thought the two leads were great, and I just had a really fun time with this one. So yeah, that is FX. Next up, we've got The Bedroom Window, starring Steve Guttenberg. I absolutely love this movie. This was you know, as close to a Hitchcock movie as I think you could get. It pretty much follows Steve Guttenberg, who's having an affair with his boss's wife, and obviously she sort of goes to his apartment where they carry out this affair. and she ends up seeing a woman being attacked outside the window. Now, because she saw this attack, she can't go to the police and admit it was her because it would expose the affair. So Steve Guttenberg decides, you know what, I'll just tell the police I saw it. And that comes back to bite them badly on the backside for making that decision. And I love this movie. I loved the way it went. The actual person who was carrying out these attacks was creepy as hell. And I just really, really enjoyed it. Really, really dug this one. Completely different sort of direction for Steve Guttenberg to go down. And I just really, really enjoyed it. So, yeah, that is The Bedroom Window. Next up, we've probably got my favourite new movie that I watched. And this stars Gary Busey and Mimi Rogers. And it is Hider in the House. Gary Busey was terrifying in this movie. He sort of plants himself in this family's home with this married couple played by Mimi Rogers and Michael McKeegan, and they've got 2 young children. He lives in their attic unknowingly to them and becomes obsessed with this family. He's creepy as hell, as everything you'd expect Gary Busey to be. And he sees them outside in their everyday life and he bumps into them. You know, he sort of plans these meetups that they don't know about. And he's given the kids sort of advice. One of the eldest sons, with them moving, he is dealing with a bully at school. And he teaches them how to deal with the bully. And when he deals with the bully, I was absolutely mortified and horrified with what I saw. Yeah, it really, really stuck out to me. He's creepy in this movie. It's borderline a horror film. I absolutely loved it. I just thought it was fantastic. Ticked all the boxes for me. So, yeah, that is Hider in the House. Next up, we've got Last Exit to Brooklyn, starring Jennifer Jason Leigh. Yeah, this was a great sort of movie about unions and the workforce going on strike in New York. And I thought Jennifer Jason Leigh was great as this prostitute, kind of who had a bit of a conscience about her. And yeah, it had a really, really disturbing ending. It reminded me very much of I Spit on Your Grave, the ending to this movie. But yeah, she was great in this role as well. It had a great cast as well. A lot of familiar faces in this movie. And yeah, I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. Really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, that ending was hard-hitting stuff. So yeah, that is Last Exit to Brooklyn. And another film I watched with Jennifer Jason Leigh from the early 90s was Buried Alive. Yeah, this again had an amazing premise. Jennifer Jason Leigh and her husband moved to this town. She's not happy at all, and she's having an affair with this other guy. And the person she's having an affair with, they decide to bump off her husband completely. Let's kill him. Let's get him out of the picture so we can be happy and move away. But what ends up happening is they don't entirely make sure that he's dead. So he's buried, he gets out the grave, and he comes back and makes life hell for these 2 people. He gets them to hate each other, and yeah, I absolutely loved it. Real creepy premise. Really, really enjoyed this one. So yeah, that is Buried Alive. And the last movie I watched this month was a movie with Christopher Reeve and Kim Cattrall. Really enjoyed this one, and it is Above Suspicion. A real fun crime drama. And I'm going to say as well, if you're fans of Kim Cattrall, you're going to want to check this movie out with its opening first 5-10 minutes. Yeah, they're going to be a treat for you. But yeah, I love this movie. I thought it was just really good. It had this real sort of creepy aura about it, in the sense that this was one of the last movies Christopher Reeve made before he had his accident. And it's a bit ironic that in this movie he pretty much spends most of it in a wheelchair. And yeah, it just had this eerie vibe about it for me. But I loved the movie nevertheless. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was entertaining. And yeah, he was a very talented actor. And yeah, this was just one of the last movies he made before he had his accident. And yeah, I just thought it was a great film. So yeah, that is Above Suspicion. So yeah, that is it, guys. Those are my first 10-time watches for the month of November. If you've seen any of these movies before, let me know what you thought of them. If you enjoyed them, do you plan on checking any of them out? And yeah, that being said, I'm going to leave the video there, guys, and say thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.